Let's talk about life lessons learned the easy way. Yesterday in day 325, today's day 326 of our Get Your Goals Annual Challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Yesterday, as part of No Nonsense November, I shared about 15 plus life lessons I learned the hard way, meaning I had to personally experience them based on my own life experiences, usually mistakes or something super bad or traumatic that happened. Those are lessons that I learned and pulled out of those situations to turn them from a negative to a positive. Now, today we're going to talk about, I think, lessons learned the easy way, the way we want to learn lessons, or as many as we possibly can, so we don't have to make all the mistakes in our life ourselves, so that we can learn from other people that have gone before us. Why would we want to reinvent the wheel for absolutely everything in our life? I say I don't want to. I did that for a while, and it was a lot more painful because I made a lot more mistakes than if I had just read a few books, studied a little bit, had a coach or mentor, joined a mastermind group, done something in whatever area or aspect of my life to make it better. So I'm just going to share briefly, if I can find a great big magnifying glass, some of the lessons that I've learned, I think the easy way, meaning lessons I learned from other people that I didn't necessarily have to make or experience myself or make a mistake myself. I've been a student of personal development and coaching and mentoring for decades, for almost as long as I've been in business. As I was in college, I discovered Tony Robbins. I had a kidney problem when I was working out in Valley, Nebraska, that put me in the hospital, and so it was late night TV, because of course it's hard to sleep in the hospital, and there was Princess Diana's wedding, and there was Tony Robbins on late night infomercials, and I'd heard of him before then and studied a little bit of his, but that was my first introduction to really studying on my own and realizing some of the things that were possible for me and other human beings, and knowing that some of the principles and things he still teaches today are true because they're universal truths. He builds a lot of his trainings and coachings on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and universal truths. So I've been studying and just been a student of personal development, a student of what is humanly possible for decades now. And as such, that means I've listened to and followed and been trained and taught by many, many personal development gurus and people in different industries. So I've been involved in a lot of different industries over my career and over my business life, right? Not just my personal life, but my business life. So here's a couple of the ones I set up. I'm going to share them, just a quick list that I wrote down. And then our action item today is to think about a lesson that you learned from someone else that you didn't have to learn by yourself the hard way. I can think of a lot of business lessons I learned this way because that's an area that I have sought to, over the decades, figure out, right? And systematize and figure out what works for me, which is part of our life lessons learned the hard way, is figuring it all out ourselves instead of modeling other people. So I guess I would say my first one, it's not even on the list, is modeling other people that have gone before in any area or aspect of our life. And this is definitely something Tony Robbins builds on, and every other guru that's learned from him, or motivational speaker or TED talker that studied human development and the mind and everything else and energy teaches is model it. You find examples of people that have done what you want to do, find out what they did, and start there instead of having to figure it all out yourself. Find somebody who's done what you want to do, and nowadays I hire them to do it for me so I don't have to do it myself if it's not a skill or an area that I want to learn, which is something a lesson I learned from other people, is I can find someone to do a piece of something for me in any area or aspect of my life. I don't have to do everything myself. I was an early adopter of having other people do housework for me, as well as accounting. Accounting is one of the business functions that I farmed out as quickly as possible, although I'm proficient and can do it. I do not love it. I don't like the little detailed things that have to be done every single day to keep track of things. I want to know the results, I want to know the numbers, but I don't want to have to be the one that collects all the information and puts it in the ledgers, etc. So what are some of these lessons for me personally that I learned from other people? There's no such thing as can't. My dad taught my sisters and I that when we were very little girls, and it is core in my belief and my being now, because I love my dad so much, and he was absolutely right. And I saw him do things and push himself in different directions and build businesses while he worked in corporate America his whole life and take care of all of us girls. If you can dream it, you can do it. That would be a Napoleon Hill. I guess I credit that with Napoleon Hill and a lot of other coaches and people that have written tremendous books. I tell you, if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, because it applies to every aspect of your life, I highly recommend it. I read it every couple of years again because it is such a profound and oh so still true today book. You can get it online free. It's in the public domain. Write down your goals. That's another one I learned from my dad. I guess these first three I learned from my father, who passed away 9 years ago this December. But to write down your goals, and he just drummed that into us girls as well. Hey, write down your goals. If you want to achieve something, just write it down. Don't have to show anybody, but write it down, because that starts to make it real for you. And that's the most important person to make it real for. If you think you can or think you can't, of course, either way, you're right. Henry Ford, that's one of my favorite sayings as well. It just reminds us how much our mind and our belief systems and our thoughts, what a huge impact they have on our level of confidence, etc. Frameworks, processes, systems, automation, delegation, overall business strategies or just life strategies, and frameworks and things are things that I'm a huge believer in and fan of, as well as continuous improvement. Learned about those things in college as a mechanical quality industrial engineer, and took those into my corporate career for over a quarter century, as well as applied them to my own businesses and my own life. I'm a huge believer in continuous improvement, and I don't know, that comes both from learning lessons the hard way as well as the easy way. So I put it into both categories. Always be a student. Learn something from everyone you meet. Everybody that comes into our world, whether we believe it or not at the time, is here to teach or show us something. And sometimes it's just to show us how not to be, right? It's to show us as a warning of a direction we don't want to go down. I've seen so many examples of that. And I find it's a lot easier to learn from other people's behavior and mistakes than to test out all those behaviors and mistakes on myself. Don't let the world change who you truly are. Build on your strengths, not on your weaknesses. For years in corporate America, we pointed out everything that everybody ever did wrong, usually so we didn't have to give them such big bonuses or give them big raises, which is so half-assed backwards. But I did learn from that situation that you treat people the way you want to be treated, and you build them up. You put them where they shine and can do and be and continually improve and become the best version of themselves. And we do that in every area and aspect of our life. We earn through value adding, not by taking things away. I say make the world a better place and decide the legacy you want to leave. I didn't ever think about, what kind of an impact or what kind of a legacy was I going to leave when I was younger. But after the sudden cardiac arrest thing, it gets you thinking about topics like purpose and, why am I here? Why? Mostly it's, why did this happen to me? We all go through these stages. It's just like the grieving stages and loss stages. We have a lot of little losses in our life that are nowhere near the loss of a human being, but we go through a similar process each and every time. And learning about that process helped me to get through things and let go of things a whole lot faster and pull out the lesson learned faster and go from problem focused to solution focused. And I learned that all through other people's mistakes, some of my own, but mostly through modeling other people. I learned a lot about the universal laws and how they work, and that was a little bit before my sudden cardiac arrest, but not that long ago, right? Just a couple of decades ago. It wasn't nearly as long ago as some of the other things I've learned and mentors I've had. Everything is energy. You choose for you. You choose for yourself. You can only be responsible for yourself. And there's things like that. Every aha moment we have, everything we learn from someone else, those are lessons that we learn the easy way, in my humble opinion. So today, what are we doing? We are sharing one lesson that we learned from someone else so that we didn't have to make the mistake ourselves. I'm trying to think, what is my biggest one on that? I think they're probably business and financial related. Have contracts, do your homework, trust but verify. That's one of my favorite ones from business. And by doing that, I know that I've saved myself a lot of heartache and a lot of challenges that I didn't really need to face. And that's a really good one that I learned from other people. Trust what people say, but verify the information, right? You believe them and you tap into both your head, your heart, and your intuition. And that's another one the hard way, but also once I started doing that, things became a lot easier. All right, I'm rambling. If I can help you anyway, ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow, which is Thanksgiving Day here in the USA, and that means I'm cooking a lot today and tomorrow. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Have fun with this.